Beautiful. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this beautiful sunny Sunday from San Rafael, California. My name is Victoria Dangerfield, Conversations with Victoria. Today, I have the immense pleasure of sharing some time with fabulous Akila McConnell, the owner of Unexpected Atlanta Walking Tours and Stories. Did I say it correctly? Walking Tours and Stories.
That is right.
Akila, it's a real pleasure and an honor to be here with you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh, it really is. I've since I took a look at your website and what you're about, I thought I want to talk to this lady. I first of all, my curiosity takes me to your beginnings because you are a lawyer by trade, correct?
That's right. So I actually went to law school. I'm from right here in the Atlanta area, from Alabama, and I moved to Atlanta to go to college, and then I went to law school. And I came back to Atlanta to practice law. I actually practiced law for about 5 years, and I was very unhappy. It just wasn't, I loved the law firm. I loved the people I worked with, but the career wasn't what I wanted to do. And I had reached 30 years old and I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And so I heard this woman on the radio. This is back in 2005. There was this woman on the radio who had quit her job and was traveling around the world. And I had never heard of somebody do that before. And I went home to my husband and I said, this is what I need to do. We need to quit our jobs. We need to travel around the world, do a complete reset. Let's go for 3 months. And so we did. And 3 months actually turned into 3.5 years. Yeah, and the way that we were able to do that, because it would have been wonderful if we won the lottery, but actually we were able to work while we traveled, and I turned my passion for food into a profession as a food and travel writer.
That's so creative.
It was, and the thing is, when I thought about it as an attorney, I was the person who I would be working until like 9 o'clock at night, and then I'd go home and I didn't want to just pop in a frozen meal. I wanted to make something from scratch. I love to cook, and more than just cooking, I love the connection and the stories associated with food. So we actually traveled around the world for 3.5 years, and then came back home to Atlanta because I found out I was pregnant. And then I had to again take a total mind shift and think, okay, I can't be a food and travel writer because I have a very small child. I'm not traveling. So now what do I do?
Oh, congratulations, boy or girl?
Yeah, so I actually have 2 girls. So this was now 8 years ago. So I have two girls, and they both are avid foodies and avid travelers.
It's an incredible adventure, and no wonder you wrote about it, correct? You had a food blog. It was caught by magazines like Condé Nast, Traveler, the LA Times.
Yes.
So prestigious magazines, definitely.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, at the time when I started my blog, blogging was very new. I mean, this was back in 2007, 2006, and blogging really wasn't something that a lot of people were doing. So there wasn't, a huge number of people out there traveling and writing about their travels. And it's funny because when I came back home to Atlanta, I again was confronted with the same situation where I was in the city, my home city, that gets a massive number of tourists, and there were no food tours here. There were no history tours. And again, it was that sort of thing where I looked at it and I was like, this is something I love to do. And I know other people love to do it. And there was nobody out there doing it at the time.
It's a very good idea and a leap of faith at the same time. Because it's always, there's always a risk venturing into the unknown.
Absolutely, absolutely, huge risks, and it's very funny because even now, what we're doing with virtual tours, it's every time that I have made these jumps in my entrepreneurial life, it's always about seeing that there's nobody doing this and me wanting it. It's not, I'm not necessarily even looking at our customers. I mean, I am kind of, but more it's looking at what I want to be doing and what my team wants to be doing. And when they're saying, hey, I want to do this, then usually we've got something, and it works. And my husband is an entrepreneur too, and he always tells me that I have the decisions that I make would not be the decisions he makes, but I really have gut instincts that seem to be, knocking on wood here, working.
It's great. Well, I think it's also that you mentioned, I read an interview of yours online, and you also mentioned the fact that your calling, the tours where you're calling, creating these experiences that are completely new. You work very hard on a tour, putting it together with an incredible team. You must be very tight, creativity flowing. Therefore, it's something very authentic, and I feel that you really want to show this need to share your passion for food and for the history too of Atlanta, right?
Well,
Into historical areas.
And it's not even, I mean, for me, I think one of the amazing things about history, right, is most people, well, they say, well, history, and they're, people look at Wikipedia, honestly. I mean, and I am not saying this to bash Wikipedia because it's an extremely useful resource. But the problem with that is questioning who writes our history. And I can give you an extremely simple example of this. So in Atlanta, so I actually also, in addition to the millions of other things that I do, I just wrote a book, A Culinary History of Atlanta. And it actually won finalist for Georgia Author of the Year in the history category. And before I wrote this book, this was the first culinary history book about the city of Atlanta in our 200 odd year history. And there's a huge number of history books about Atlanta. And if you look at all of those history books before mine, people always say, well, what's the first restaurant? And they point to a restaurant that was operated by a white man, because the history books were written by white men. And so I was like, wait, no, this can't be right, because who does the cooking? It's not white men who normally cook. It's women and minorities, and especially in the 1850s, it was Black people who were doing the cooking. So then I dug a lot deeper, and I got into the original source documentation. And when I did, I discovered, oh, actually, there was a free Black man who was selling ginger cakes at the train station. That's a restaurant. There was a woman, a elderly woman, and her daughter who were selling root beer, and who was they were like the, right on the wagon trail. You would stop at their house. They would sell you like root beer, cakes, crackers, like simple things that were easy to carry with you. That's a restaurant. And so for us, and I think the calling is not so much about operating tours. I mean, tours is a part of what we do, but our calling is to tell stories that nobody else is telling, and that probably nobody else knows. And sometimes those are uncomfortable stories, often they are unexpected stories. And that's actually where, our branding comes from, the fact that when we as a team kept on looking at what is it that we do, what are our customers saying about us, constantly we got this feedback that the whole experience was so unexpected. They had no idea that all of these stories existed.
Hence the name. I love it. Unexpected Atlanta.
It is.
But I think this is crucial. I mean, congratulations, first of all, for your book.
Thank you.
You're incredible. I mean, I love the way that you expand and you're not scared. You take a leap and you make things happen. A lot of people would say, oh, it's territory that maybe I don't want to delve into. How are the reactions going to be? Because as you say, history is a sort of one-sided thing in a way. But it's very important for people to see the bigger picture. And it's the fuller cultures that make a city, that make a state and a country altogether, isn't it? Everything has to be told, everything.
Yeah, and what's really interesting to us especially is, our mission, and we are extremely fortunate in the sense that we did this work about 2 years ago. I had no idea, of course, that a pandemic was going to hit. But 2 years, when I started the company 5 years ago, our name was Atlanta Food Walks because we started off as a food tour company. And then 2 years ago, our food tour customers kept coming back to us and saying, we love the food tour side, but we also wish that you guys just did standalone history tours that, are maybe a little bit lower in price point, that we can bring our children to, shorter in time frame. And so we opened up Atlanta History Tours. And as we did that, we realized that our umbrella company needed to be Unexpected Atlanta Tours and Stories, because in the long term, my vision for our company is I don't want to be a tour company that happens to do great storytelling. I want to be a storytelling company that happens to do great tours. So that has really allowed us, that mindset. And this is the reason, I think people very, very frequently ask me, as an entrepreneur, what is the most important thing? And to me, the most important thing is to know your mission. For me, our mission, and for our company, our mission is storytelling. It is telling the unexpected story of Atlanta and telling the unexpected story of the South. And by knowing our mission and being true to our mission, when the pandemic hit, we were able to pivot immediately because we knew what we did. And that, to me, is really the core and needs to be at the core of a business. And I see a lot of, especially small tourism operations, who don't exactly know what it is that they are doing.
That was going to be my next point. In fact, you're operating and everything's going as planned, and suddenly the unexpected that has really hit the tour business. So with the COVID pandemic, you must have thought, right, from now on, we are not going to have the foot traffic. So what do we do? I mean, I was also reading about that you've got your team together for a week, brainstorming ideas and trying to come up with something innovative, which you did, because then you started. Tell us a little bit about your ATL tour food box, which comes with a video, and describe what that is, because it's been a great hit.
It has. And what's funny is I tell people that, people ask me all the time, well, so you pivoted. And I said, no, we are pivoting. I see pivoting as a continuous motion, where we're constantly kind of rethinking what is it that we're doing and where are we going next. So the week after the pandemic hit, we said, well, we got to do something. And the obvious and immediate idea was, will we create a food tour in a box? And so we packaged up several of our vendors' foods, and then we added in, pre-recorded video. We kept the history element, and then we shipped it out. And so you can watch the videos, you can, eat the food, and you get a 1-hour food tour. Well, we got a lot of feedback from guests, and guests were like, this is amazing. We really love this concept. But we want two things. One thing is we would love if the topics change out every month, so that, we're able to keep buying. And then number two, what we would really like is we would like to have something that is at a lower price point, because everybody is really struggling in the pandemic. And so we then kind of took this ATL food tour box and we said, okay, how do we do this? And so we continued pivoting rather than we pivoted. And we came up with Unexpected Virtual Tours. And Unexpected Virtual Tours is every month we come out with a new tour. The tours have it's a new virtual tour. The tours are extremely interactive and immersive. We have an add-on treat box option. So you can purchase the standalone tour for $10, or you can add on the treat box for $20. And the treat box includes at least one treat from a local entrepreneur. It includes hands-on activities. And it really kind of, it gives you that 360-degree feeling. And I'll give you the example, which is our next tour is on the Civil War. And, the moment we say Civil War, people are like, boring, because, for kids, we all remember going to school and remembering dates and battles. But our Civil War tour, not only are we telling those stories that normally aren't told of enslaved individuals who actually contributed hugely to the Civil War, who were able to free themselves. We're telling stories of women and their role in the Civil War. So again, these are stories you don't normally hear, but you're also breaking codes with us. So we actually do 2 Civil War era codes and ciphers in the tour that you're doing along with us. One of our team members is actually a stage combat choreographer. So she teaches you how to mock battle techniques from the Civil War era. Plus, we're integrating the story of salt and the story of Savannah. So the treat box is a Savannah treat box. You get a seasoning salt, and you also get a salted caramel popcorn. And we're integrating all of this into an extremely seamless 1-hour experience. And people just love it. And so in this mindset of pivoting rather than pivoted, for the last month, what we have done is we have taken our Unexpected Virtual Tours, which we now have a catalog of about 5 products that we've already created, and we're converting those into virtual field trips. Because of course, every school out there, at least in the South, is going remote. And it's a mandate, schools must do a certain number of field trips. This is actually part of the Common Core curriculum. And so schools are just pulling out their hair. I mean, we've talked now to multiple schools over the last week, and they're like, we don't know how to do this. And we timed it so that our virtual field trips are coming out right now. And we're pitching it to schools as they're doing pre-planning. And it's just basically taking the tours we already have and synthesizing it for the relative age groups, the respective age groups. So that's actually kind of the story of how our virtual tours have come about.
I'm in awe. I'm impressed. Really, well done to the whole team, because that's the thing. Were you ever worried that that the business might fall apart when the pandemic was at its crucial. That it must have generated stress and fear. But from what you're saying, you just reinvented yourselves.
I mean, yeah.
You're a leader that way, very much so. It's exemplary what your company has achieved. And then you're seeing from the feedback too.
Here's the thing about fear, right? And this is the other thing that I think, especially in the tourism industry right now, because I mean, our industry is just sunk. Like when you think about it, like Delta and US Air, they're all posting the worst quarters they've ever had in the history of their companies. What do you have to be afraid of? The worst thing that could possibly happen has happened. Why not? Why not be radically innovative and come up with things that are going to result in a completely different vision? To me, yeah, we could, and I do know a lot of small businesses who are just on hibernation mode. They're just kind of sitting it out. But the way I see it is, it's going to be probably another year or longer before my business is back to, our regular tour business is back to normal. And the day that I woke up and I told my team, we have 1 week to figure something out, that day, I told my team a story, and I will tell you the same story because it has been a guiding light to me through the pandemic. And the story goes that in 1918, the beer industry was doing phenomenally well. There were over 1,200 breweries in the country at the time. The beer industry was just massive. People were drinking it regularly. I mean, it was so massive that actually here in Atlanta, and not just here in Atlanta, but pretty much anywhere, at lunchtime, workers would run from their industry, their office, run to the beer manufacturer, and they would get a big bucket of beer. And then they would go back to their office and the beer would slosh around making this growling noise, which is where the word growler came from. So, if you've ever heard growlers, that's where the word growler comes from. So 1918 beer industry is huge. And the next year, Prohibition takes effect nationwide. And at first, a lot of companies, a lot of these breweries said, we're just going to hibernate. We're going to we're just gonna wait it by. Prohibition will get, banned. By the time Prohibition actually ended, there were only 10% of the breweries remaining. And the 10% that survived, they had been radically innovative. Budweiser actually, during the Prohibition years, they actually purchased, they started selling ice cream because ice cream uses the same type of vats that beer uses. Coors started selling ceramics because, they had the same type of machines. Pabst was selling just the dry goods to make beer. I mean, these companies were, like when I say radically innovative, they basically were throwing spaghetti at the wall to survive, and only 10% of them survived. And that is travel today, and that's the tourism industry today. And I see a lot of companies sitting there on their hands, and I think if you're not radically innovative, you're just not going to survive long term.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's the fact that doing it, it's something unique, and it's also, you've hit the nail on the head, because food brings people together.
Absolutely.
So families, friends, you're in the confinement situation with your loved ones, with friends or family members, roommates, and that's the way to do it. You're watching a video, you're enjoying a meal. It's something that's an absolute pleasure. And National Geographic traveler talks about your food tours as the top in Atlanta, and also the Sydney Herald Tribune
Yes.
among the top 50 worldwide day tours. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
It really is, because a lot of people are thinking, oh, I wish I could do it. I wish I had the guts to reinvent myself and to try something new, to delve into the unknown. I love your quote that says, luck is something that can happen, but not necessarily. It's serendipity. It's how you deal with those little events. And turn them, how do you put it, turn them into a positive result?
Yeah, I am a huge believer in serendipity. I think serendipity is all around us, that you have these really, there's always around the corner, there's something, a moment, and you just have to capture that moment in your hand and turn it into something that's amazing and positive.
You should write a book about that.
I got too many other things going on right now.
But you've done what they say that one has to do in life for a fulfilled life is write a book, have a child, and plant a tree. Have you planted?
Is that right?
That's what one says. Yes, I've heard that saying.
I've never heard that.
Things.
Oh, well, I you know what? I'm actually a really avid gardener. So I have a huge tomato area because I like to cook with fresh herbs and fresh vegetables. So I've got a beautiful, so I haven't planted a tree, but I've planted lots of plants.
Oh, well, you've done it. Absolutely.
I love that.
Tell me, what would you say, even including your travels, but what is the food you cannot do without? What really will make you feel happy, satisfied when you eat it? Like, I love it. It's my favorite.
So for me, it is ice cream. I just, in every sort of form, the moment I sink my spoon into a bowl of ice cream, the whole world just tastes better. And it's totally like a girl, stereotype that, you have a bad day when you use ice cream. But for me, ice cream, that's it. It's always ice cream.
Oh, my husband loves it too. Yes, ice cream. Oh, yes.
What's your favorite?
Mine, I would say rice, anything with rice.
Ooh.
My sister-in-law is Japanese, and when she cooks, I know there'll be rice for breakfast, like rice for lunch, rice for dinner. I love it. Oh, Akila, this is fantastic. I'm looking at the time and it's 2:30 your time. I have to say, I'm impressed. That's why I saw a snippet about your company in a video I was sent via ITMI, the school I studied tour guiding with. And I thought, I need to talk to this lady because she is an example that I would love to follow. I wish I had the guts though, but you are so...
you have the guts, you can do it. You just wake up in the morning and just say, you know what? Today I'm going to do something unexpected. That's it. You wake up every morning and say, how can I do something unexpected? That's just that's the guiding light.
It's grabbing life and sort of getting all the juice out of it.
Yeah, we've got this one amazing life to live, and I just want to, whatever you do, you just say, wake up in the morning, and what is it that we're going to do that's different and unexpected, that's going to shake things up?
Well, I must say your TripAdvisor reviews speak for themselves. You really have captured your audience.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely, Akila. One last thing you would like to add? Anything new that's coming in 20? What are your overall hopes for 2021 in general?
That's a great question. So 2021, well, I hope that there's a vaccine and we can all open up tours again. That would be lovely. Really, I'm super excited about the future of our virtual tours. I think this is something we're going to continue offering even after coronavirus ends. We're getting such phenomenal feedback. Friday, I was on a call with a company who had done one of our virtual tours, and we had done a tour on Juneteenth. We had organized that tour. You know, we had planned to do that tour, you know, months before all of the, you know, political conversation around Juneteenth happened. And so this company took our Juneteenth tour, and we were just talking to them on Friday about some future work. And the organizer who had organized the Juneteenth tour, she said to me, you know, after we organized it, because she was on the diversity and equity committee, after we organized it, they had somebody on their C-level suite who called them in, and they were getting very nervous. They were like, oh gosh, what happened? And this person said that he started crying. This white man started crying during our Juneteenth tour because he said that his entire life, he's from the South, and he's eaten these foods like barbecue and had no, you know, no connection to how much the African-American and Indigenous community had affected one of his favorite foods. So to me, that's the best thing, the excitement that I have is that we have now figured out a way to not just share our story when you're here in Atlanta, but that you can be anywhere in the world, and we're going to share these incredible stories that need to be told. So that's, to me, that's the thing. That's what we're really excited as a company about.
It's all about bringing people together, isn't it?
Absolutely. It is. It's about bringing people together and highlighting stories you'd never hear before, because you know, it really is about bringing people together and hoping that the work that we do contributes in at least some small way to a better world. You know, we had somebody actually take our King tour a couple of years ago, and she, you know, so we have a tour all about the Martin Luther King district, and she emailed us on the day that John Lewis passed away, and she said to me, do you know that I have lived in the South for 40 years. I did not know anything about John Lewis until I came and I took your tour. Thank you for educating me. Today I am mourning this great leader. And I thought to myself, this is why we do what we do.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's true. It's bringing all of this into the open, and, you know, making it just, you're contributing. With every story, you're contributing to even the future generations to have a clearer picture and to understand, you know, what the unsung, not unsung heroes, the heroes, the real heroes in the history of your beautiful country. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes. It's these are people that need to be talked about, and I'm a firm believer in stories that definitely need to be shared. And look at the reaction. I mean, you know, you're opening people's hearts.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's magnificent.
Well, thank you so much, Victoria. Appreciate it.
Akilah, thank you so much. It really, you come from a place of love. It's been an honor talking to you, and I will send you this if you want to share it.
Yes, absolutely. I will be happy to share it. Yeah, once you've got it up, please let me know. We'll share it to the world.
Absolutely. It's been a complete pleasure. I wish you all the luck and success which you fully deserve, and happiness. Tell your husband he's a lucky man. Akilah's husband, you're a lucky man. If you're listening,
thank you. I think I'm the lucky one, but thank you. He deals with all of my crazy, ever-changing ideas. So.
Yeah, that's what marriages are for. There you go. The good, the bad, and the ugly, and fascinating. Oh, thank you. Thank you, my love.
Thanks so much, Victoria, and thanks so much for reaching out. So appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Absolutely. Thank Margaret, too, for all the coming and going with the emails.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks again. Okay, bye.
Bye.